Good morning, SKN. I'm Andre Cunningham.
And I am Cortensia Carty.
Welcome, guys, to another morning show. Cortensia, how have your morning been so far?
Good. Yours? How did you rest, I should ask?
I was in and out of it, but I'm here.
Yeah, I went to sleep after 2. Look at me, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. How do I do it? Only God knows.
We'll get through.
Indeed we will.
And here's the latest this morning on the local scene. This one comes to us from Win Media SKN. The Financial Gems have been recognized for their intra-country win in the regional schools investment competition. The ceremony, which was held at the Clarence Fitzroy Bryan College campus CFBC, was chaired by Mrs. Yuloko Amri Brown, Business Development Executive at the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange ECSC, and Dr. Moya Rotham, Acting President of the CFBC, gave remarks on behalf of the college. The other schools in St. Kitts and Nevis that participated in the Regional Schools Investment Competition were 4K Traders, the Immaculate Conception Catholic School, ICCS, Stormbrokers, Basti High School, Innovative Traders, Sadler's Secondary School, Authentic Stars, Charles E. Mills Secondary, and VHS Hawks Investors, Virtual Secondary School. The country winners mounted in early March moved on to compete in the regional stage of the competition. The VFCSS Invest of Viewfort Comprehensive Secondary School, St. Lucia, was ultimately adjudged the regional champion and was recognized at a prize-giving ceremony held on the 25th of April in St. Lucia. The competition was created to be a dynamic learning experience for high school and first-year college students and introduces them to investing while providing the opportunity to experience securities market activities.
Yeah, that's good. We didn't have that in school. That's why I always said I need to start over. The opportunities that present themselves to this generation, they ought to take them seriously.
I agree.
We proceed now with our second story. It comes from SKNIS. During his visit to London, United Kingdom, the UK, for the coronation ceremony of His Majesty King Charles III, Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew met with numerous influential world leaders and shared the vision of his administration for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. He began his second day in London, accompanied by the Governor-General, Dame Marcella Liebert, by attending a small island developing states SIDS breakfast organized by the UK Foreign Office to demonstrate its support for SIDS. Prime Minister Drew engaged other world leaders and sensitized them to the government's plan to transform St. Kitts and Nevis into a sustainable island state. He expressed the need for partnership and support to move the country forward without the limiting concept of gross domestic product (GDP) per capita. He also discussed upcoming geothermal projects and the vision to expand the fisheries within the Federation. Prime Minister Drew, Governor-General Dame Marcella Liebert, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Right Honourable Dr. Denzel L. Douglas, met with the UK Secretary of State for Foreign Commonwealth and Development Affairs, the Right Honourable James Cleverly, other leaders and senior officials of numerous other countries. Prime Minister Drew further maximized the opportunity in his brief encounter with a senior United Nations UN official to share information on his approach to universal health care and asked for the support from the UN in prioritizing healthcare access across the Caribbean.
Interesting. And still on the local scene, this one comes to us from the SKNIS. A contingent of the officers in the St. Kitts and Nevis Fire and Rescue Services were recognized for their valuable contributions to the Federation during an awards ceremony held on Sunday evening, May 7th, 2023, at the Solid Waste Conference Room. There were several categories of awards, including years of service, most dedicated officer on each shift, most dedicated supervisor at each fire station, as well as 4 categories of special awards. 8 officers were honored for their service of 25 years and more to the country. They received a gold, silver, and a bronze medal accompanied by a certificate. 18 officers were recognized for their service of 20 to 24 years. They received a silver and bronze medal as well as a certificate. 7 fire officers were honored for their service of 15 to 19 years. They received a bronze medal and a certificate. For the achievement of 10 years, 12 fire officers received a certificate. Miss Donna Isaac received a certificate as the longest serving step officer attached to the SKNFRS. 17 firefighters received a certificate as the most dedicated officer on their respective shifts for 2022 to 2023. The special awards category were the Courage to Overcome Award, Fire Prevention Education Award, Extra Mile Award, and Courage to Overcome Award. The Courage to Overcome Award was presented to Fire Officer James Haynes and Cornell Warner, who continue to display dedication and commitment in service to the country despite their significant physical challenges. FSSO Timothy Martin and Acting Chief Fire Officer Rommel Williams received the Fire Prevention Education Award. Receiving the Extra Mile Award were the officers Linnell Richardson and Travis Reed for going over and beyond the call of duty.
That is so good. Congratulations to them all.
I know. Congratulations to those officers. And here's what's happening in the weather report. Today will be partly cloudy with a high of 84 and a low of 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Stay with us. Much more when we return on Good Morning SKN.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Yeah.
An exotic experience.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN as we continue now with the latest in regional news. Our news comes from Loop Caribbean. A coral restoration project in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is reporting significant success, with more than 85% of the fragments transplanted so far surviving. Executive Director of Clear Caribbean, a not-for-profit organization working in the Eastern Caribbean, Owende explained that his organization has been working in partnership with the Richmond Valley Academy, the RVA, Sustainable Grenadines, and We Are Myru on the project to scale up coral restoration in the Eastern Caribbean. The project, which is funded by the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund through their ecosystem-based adaptation facility, is restoring the population of elkhorn and staghorn corals, which are critically important for the ecology of Caribbean reefs. They said the corals are incredibly important for fish, lobsters, and invertebrates, and it is believed that the initial decline of the corals resulted from the use of pesticides in the banana industry. Currently, Clear Caribbean is working on sites in St. Vincent, 3 sites in the Grenadines, and also in St. Lucia, and has planted over 10,000 corals in the 14 months since the project started. So that's good news.
There is. Always happy to see taking care of the environment.
Indeed.
And here's what's happening on the international scene. This one comes to us from the CNN. Temperature record tumbled across Southeast Asia over the weekend as the region swelters under a weeks-long heat wave that has brought misery to millions. All-time highs were recorded in Vietnam, Laos, and Thailand's capital, where the heat has been compounded by an intense smoggy season that has caused pollution levels to spike. Scientists have long warned that heat waves are set to get worse as the impacts of the human-caused climate crisis accelerate. In Vietnam, temperatures reached 44.2 degrees Celsius, around 111.5 degrees Fahrenheit on Saturday in the northern district of Tuong Dong, the highest temperature ever recorded in the country, according to the weather historian Maximiliano Herrera. The capital is among large parts of Thailand that have suffered under temperatures in the upper 30s to low 40s degrees Celsius since late March. In mid-April, the northwest city of Tak became the first place in the country to top 45 degrees Celsius, 113 degrees Fahrenheit, according to Herrera, using data from the meteorological department. Temperatures across the region are expected to return closer to average in the coming days, but unprecedented heat events are becoming more common as the climate crisis intensifies.
Yeah, and we can feel it down here too. It's hot, hot, hot.
St. Kitts is definitely experience it. Well, there you have it, folks. That's all we have for the latest today. Stay with us. Much more when we return on GMSKN.
What will it take to grab the attention of someone with the power to make your dream come true? 7 hopeful entrepreneurs in search of the finances necessary to take their ideas to the next level.
This is their lives, right? This is their business.
4 savvy business owners ready to make a pragmatic investment.
You can't help people if you can't help yourself. First you make the dollar and you give the dollar.
Why you take your business offline?
I really feel that you need to do a little bit more research.
Very knowledgeable. Super knowledgeable.
You have a great idea and a great concept. I think you'd be snapped up by Disney.
If you have a job someplace, it means that if something is not working, you can walk away.
Who will invest?
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Thank you. And who will be sent home with nothing? I am your host, Kevin Hope.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. For this edition of In the News, we'll be discussing the article published by the UN News titled, "Who Chief Declares End to COVID-19 as a Global Health Emergency." Once again, so who chiefs declare end to COVID-19 as a global health emergency? And when I read the article, it says, I'm going to start with the first point, for over 12 months, the pandemic has been on a downward trend. And there hasn't been a flare, I should say. Persons aren't being hospitalized. Persons aren't, there have not been much deaths. And there are not much persons in intensive care, as we know, when COVID-19 started in March of 2020. You know, when I look back at the COVID-19 pandemic, I remember I was flying then and I was leaving Grenada and I saw all these folks in Italy, they were packing up their houses, and I'd be like, why are they putting up so much food? And it was a big thing on CNN, and it was a sudden lockdown. I said, that's not gonna reach our parts. I was not expecting that.
I said the same thing.
And then it just fast forward and got to the Caribbean.
But you think we were prepared for it though?
I think if we had paid attention to a certain movie, we would have been prepared for it. But I'm not going to call... No, Andre, do not.
What's the name of that movie? I'm sure the audience wants to know. What movie was that?
Contagion.
Yes.
It came out in 2011. Had we paid full attention to that, we would have been ready and prepared for 2020. So that's 9 years later. Look at that. 9 years later.
Interesting. But you know, the funny thing though, I just hope we would use, especially us in the region, use the COVID-19 pandemic as a blueprint for future.
I think
for future diseases to like hit the region.
You mean for future pandemics?
Pandemics. Yeah.
I think that's what's happening, because although I know the meeting was held on May 4th, it is not just to declare an end to it, because we know we have to live with it.
Right.
But the results that came out of the meeting was that we have to live with this. So let's put certain things into place to ensure that we know how to control it. And so that we can know how to handle, as you rightfully said, future pandemics.
Indeed. But to another level, it was a time for deep reflection. The COVID continued to leave deep scars on the world. These scars must serve as a permanent reminder of the potential for new viruses to emerge with devastating consequences. And those were statements made by the chief of the World Health Organization. And so, you think we're out of the clear?
Fair enough to say I think we are. As I said, we don't have any more deaths. I must commend St. Kitts and Nevis once again for how they handled the pandemic. Although I was shut out for a little bit, I forgive you guys for that. But they did a great job for our population, the amount of deaths that we have.
Of course they did.
It was less than expected because of the restrictions that were in place. The restrictions worked for us. We proved that we can adapt.
Yep.
Or we could have adapted those situations. So I would say St. Kitts and a few of the other Caribbean islands did an excellent job in handling the COVID-19 pandemic.
I think most of the region actually turned at their focus to St. Kitts and how we were handling here. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
It was something to be proud of, how the leaders handled the situation right here in St. Kitts. It was admirable.
Exactly. And the chief said that at one level, the end of the emergency was a moment to celebrate, and he paid tribute to the incredible skills and selfless dedication of health care workers worldwide. And we know, when I looked at countless videos with the healthcare workers in Italy that were on the front line, some of them lost their lives in the US, right here in our little island. I do not know what went on in the other Caribbean islands, but I know the healthcare workers had to be at the fore. So we are grateful.
Correct.
Thank you so much. You are the reason that we are here still, and thank you for helping the governments control the pandemic.
I agree, but you ever wondered, Hortensia, that why is it that actually every decade, so to speak, something major happens in the world?
I didn't look at it that way.
Yes,
What happened in 2010?
In 2010, well, let me take you back a little. In 1980, you saw the emergence of HIV/AIDS hit the world. 1990 was when we see the fall of the Soviet Union. In the 2000, we had the World Trade Center bombing.
Oh, wow.
2010 was when we have the Bin Laden was killed. And that caused a lot of security reasons to ramp up in the entire world.
Yeah, well, after the World Trade Center situation.
Right, and that was 2010, and then 2020, here comes here comes COVID-19.
Mr. Pandemic. And the other day I was looking at the news, and a lady caught something in China again, and I think the article was saying it may be a next pandemic, and I'd be like, not again.
I know.
We really can't. We're just out of one pandemic. We cannot handle the next one.
Yeah.
Although I think that as humans, we're back to our old ways.
I know.
Like sometimes I'm in establishments and there's somebody breathing down my neck, and I'm like, could you excuse me a bit?
Correct.
It's still, come on, give me a little space. Just a little space I ask for. You don't have to stand at 6 feet, but just a little space, because people are just jamming up on each other again. We are happy we don't have to wear the mask, because as I said, when I wore the mask, I had to take the mask down to find things to see properly, because it was obstructing my sight.
Right.
But we still have to be mindful that COVID-19 is going nowhere, and we have to be mindful of what we do. When we cough, cover our mouth. If we know we're sick, just stay at home for a day, get yourself together, and don't go out and just share the germs. Because before, when we got the Christmas flu, we just go to work and share it. Everybody must get a turn of this little flu.
Right. That's all we need to do. Just continue to adhere to the guidelines. It's there. We know what to do, and we just continue to adhere to them.
Yeah. Look, it continues to say that many mistakes were made, including a lack of coordination, equity, and solidarity, which meant that existing tools and techniques were not the best used to combat the virus. And we saw the big thing that had to come in to help us to get the virus under control, and that was the vaccine.
The vaccines, right? But many of us didn't. Many of us didn't take on the vaccine at all. But I think it helped, though.
It helped somewhat.
But I think what some of the issues were that some persons were wondering, why is it that so many persons continue to contract the virus even though they were vaccinated?
But I don't think the vaccine was a cure-all. It was just an aid to prevent debt, the amount of debt that we were having. So should you contract the virus, it's sort of insured. I'm going to say sort of, because nothing is etched in stone that you didn't die. So it was some ways, of keeping you alive,
Right,
while you
right.
still go through the effects of
Yep.
having the coronavirus.
We must promise ourselves and our children and grandchildren that we will never make those mistakes again. Several mistakes were made during the pandemic. Several. And I think when I look back now, I see this as history for our generation. Can you imagine years to come when persons look back and they were like, these are some of the things that they have to do, queuing up in the lines, those markings. We actually create history. I'm sure persons who look back in years to come will see some of the things we have to do.
That wasn't the first pandemic. Remember, they had the pandemic, I think, in the 1800s,
With
where
the-
everybody
the
was dying from the big flu.
Right, the Spanish flu. Yes,
so it wasn't the first, but
it was just intriguing to see we as
how we adapted.
experience it, because who knew we would have experienced a pandemic in our lifetime?
I know.
Like as you said, that was what, the 1800s.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see how our foreparents dealt with it.
But the excitement though, Andre, before we go into the next point of persons, the fact that to travel now, you don't need to be vaccinated. That is going to get a lot of persons excited.
Of course.
But with the demand for travel comes the supply, and with supply comes increase.
There you go.
Not only in the tickets, but in the housing for those of us who don't have families abroad.
Yep.
Everything's gonna go up.
Everything's gonna go up. We just gotta brace for it. We know it's coming.
So the excitement to travel comes with a raise.
Indeed. Indeed.
All because of the pandemic. We don't need any more pandemics right now, guys. So let us do what is necessary and follow the rules of maybe the little how should I say? Oh gosh, I'm trying to find the word. I don't have the word on you. So go ahead. When I find the word, I'll tell you.
But it is still important to note that the chief of the World Health Organization declared that it is no longer a global health emergency. And I think that's important. That's a big clear for us, especially us here in the Caribbean.
Yeah, because you know us, we like outside.
We do.
And we love to be in a crowd.
And for us who depend on a tourism-driven economy, so can't afford to go back to those days when you see.
So whatever regulations or rules we get, I just say that we should just follow them. Just follow them to the best. Just follow them to. If they say to wear the mask for a month, just wear the mask for a month. Just not after that month, something will be better. It also says here that this experience, and this comes from the article, this experience must change us all for the better. It must make us more determined to fulfill the vision that nations had when they founded WHO in 1948, the highest possible standard of health for all people.
Indeed. And I think they're living up to it in today.
Yeah.
I think the World Health Organization, they are living up to that.
Yeah. And I also like in the pandemic, as you said, in our little island, we adhere to the rules. We did what was necessary. And with the help of our leaders, we got through it.
Right.
And we came out good on the other side again, where we could be outside again.
Interesting days ahead. Interesting days
indeed. And we have so much in store for you here at Good Morning SKN. See you on the other side of this short break.
Yeah.
An exotic experience.
What will it take to grab the attention of someone with the power to make your dream come true? 7 hopeful entrepreneurs in search of the finances necessary to take their ideas to the next level.
This is their lives, right? This is their business.
4 savvy business owners ready to make a pragmatic investment.
You can't help people if you can't help yourself. First you make the dollar and you give the dollar.
Why you take your business offline?
I really feel that you need to do a little bit more research.
Very knowledgeable. Super knowledgeable.
You have a great idea and a great concept. I think you'd be snapped up by Disney.
If you have a job someplace, it means that if something is not working, you can walk away.
Who will invest?
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Thank you. And who will be sent home with nothing? I am your host, Kevin Hope.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Welcome back, folks. Joining us on Good Morning SKN as we recognize Regional Awareness Month are Marisha Brown, Coordinator of Disability Service at the Ministry of Youth Empowerment, Aging and Disability, and Ratcliffe Bowen, President of the Society of the Blind. Welcome to Good Morning SKN.
Welcome back.
Happy you could join us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Indeed. So let's get right into it. What are some of the reasons why persons actually go blind?
Mr. Bowen?
Well, there are different types of blindness. The 3 main causes of blindness in the Caribbean is glaucoma, cataract, and persons getting blind from diabetes.
Okay.
In terms of my case, I was born with internal cataract. Internal cataract, that is the one that, you're not able to cut it. So, when you're born with internal cataract, you just have to tell yourself, well, that's it. Because, the cataract, it grows into the eyes.
Okay.
So to get out that cataract now, you have to destroy the eye, completely. Against that, when some people develop cataract, later on in life, and, you can go and do surgery.
Yeah.
And then, you get over it. I lost my sight when I was just 11 years old.
Okay.
I was a 6th grader. And because of that, it robs me from having,
right,
a decent education, because I wasn't able to attend high school. When I was discharged from primary school, I just had to live my life, just like that. But, I was able to pick up the pieces. I'm one of those persons, I don't give up, that easily,
That's good.
Yeah.
So there was no form of education offered after primary school at that time?
No, because, I was born in Guyana, the Republic of Guyana.
Okay.
And at that time, the special education unit, my mother, she didn't know of it. And, I was just there, absolutely doing nothing, just being at home. And in 1981, I remember I joined the Guyana Society for the Blind. And when I did, I started attending, like workshops and seminars and, different stuff. And that is how I was able to pick up the pieces, because, I'm one of those persons, because I never went to high school. When I go to a workshop or a seminar and I hear big words, if we should use the word, I would, it's like, if Miss Brown is giving a lecture, I would, if she used the word, let us say she used the word mechanism, I'm going to catch her and say, Miss Brown, what is the meaning of the word mechanism? And that is how I was able to learn, from a child growing up.
Interesting.
Nice.
So, Marisha, let me bring you into the conversation a bit. Listening to Mr. Bowen's story a short while ago, and he elaborated about his early childhood. In St. Kitts in particular, is there an introduction to the Braille system for persons who are living with a disability?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think in the 80s, well, I came to St. Kitts to take up residency in 1992.
Okay.
But prior to 1992, I was told that one Mr. Aristotle, the late Aristotle, he taught blind. He taught persons, he taught them Braille, sorry.
Okay.
Braille, yeah.
He taught them Braille. And when I came, there was no longer a Braille instructor.
Okay.
So I am in, what year is 2010. We was able to contract Miss Ordain. She teaches at the Cotton Thomas Comprehensive School.
Okay.
And we also learned some Braille. But I can speak for St. Kitts, but for some reason, personally, and for some other people, Braille, it's like, it is getting outdated now.
Right.
Because of, because of technology.
Right.
Everything talks, and people feel, instead of using the finger, why not, instead of using a Braille Bible.
Right.
I prefer to sit down and, listen to an audio Bible book. And I get all the different, books in the Bible, from Genesis to, Revelation.
Of course.
Yeah, so to me, Braille is like, it's getting outdated. But I am not saying that, people shouldn't learn Braille.
Right.
You understand?
Okay. So, Mauricio, how is it for you working with folks like Mr. Bowen and other blind visually impaired individuals?
Well, it's still a learning process because, you know, the department is fairly new. It started in January. So we are still trying to, right now we work with 5 different groups. Groups that deal with or work with persons living with a disability. And so, because prior to this month, I wasn't aware that May is also recognized as a month to bring awareness for blindness. Because my understanding is it's October, where majority of persons believe it to be October. So I'm still learning, you know. But what we're doing in the meantime while we learn is that once the group or one of the groups or any particular person with a disability, if they need some sort of help, like for instance, Mr. Bowen would have informed us that this is happening or this month, and we try to see how we could help bring awareness. And so that's how we're having this conversation right now.
Interesting.
If I can come in.
Yes, please go ahead.
What happened in October? They will normally celebrate White Cane Day. I think it's somewhere around the 16th of October. But from in the 80s, I know that, you know, we would normally celebrate Regional Blindness Awareness Day. Well, sorry, month, and then on the 31st of May, it's been dubbed Regional Blindness Awareness Day. Yes, and we normally would use this month to spread awareness. Well, first let me tell you, the St. Kitts Society for the Blind. It was founded on the 18th of October, 1982. It was under the name then St. Kitts Society for Friends of the Blind. And it went into a state of, you know, dormancy. And we was able to revive the organization in 1992, and we changed the name to St. Kitts Society for the Blind. And there were a number of folks out there who pioneered the work for the blind then, like the late Willie Doe, who died, I think, a couple of months ago. He served as chairman. Mrs. Agnes Carrot, you know, she's still alive in her 90s. She served as one of the secretary of the then Society for Friends of the Blind. Miss Sharon Balboza, people like the late Auckland Hector, the late Reverend Dr. Holiday, Joseph Holiday. So those are folks who help pioneer the work, you know, for the blind in St. Kitts and Nevis. And, you know, when I came in 1992, myself and the late Joan Moses, you know, we were able to continue the work. And to spread awareness, you know, some of the activities, you know, we have been going to the various schools, both primary and secondary schools. And, you know, talk to the children. We've been having town hall meetings. We've been having radio and television programs, you know, and, you know, some workplaces, you know, we go into some of the workplaces and, you know, we talk to the staff. And I think we have come a long way, but there's still a lot of, you know,
Indeed.
work, you know.
And hold that point for us, Mr. Bowen. When we return on GMSKN, we find out much more, in particular what the Ministry of Youth Empowerment is doing for those living with a disability. Stay with us, much more when we return.
Thank you.
no cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Yeah.
Experience.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. As we continue this engaging conversation with Mauricio Brown, Coordinator of Disability Services at the Ministry of Youth Empowerment, Aging and Disabilities, and Mr. Rockcliffe Bowen, President of the Society of the Blind. So Mauricio, I was asking you during the break, what plans does the ministry have to commemorate this day and for the upcoming one in October? What are some of the plans?
Well, couple of months ago, we sat with the group, and Mr. Boyne was part of that discussion, and he would have mentioned that in Guyana, what is done is that persons who are blind and vision impaired, they have this activity where they ask honorable ministers to be blindfolded, and they walk certain places in Guyana, and it's a big thing, and quote follows, and the ministers get to see how it in a sense feels.
Yeah.
And so it's something that he always wanted to have done. And so now with his help, he came to the office about 2-3 weeks ago.
Yes.
And we planned it out, and right now we are hoping for it to happen next Friday on the 19th.
Nice. Awesome.
So we already have the buying of a couple of ministers, honorary ministers, and we're hoping to have a couple more, as well as some influential persons in society to join. So,
anyone you can name?
Of course, the junior minister,
Okay.
Honorable Iceline Phillip, for sure.
Nice.
And the director for Youth Empowerment, Department of Youth Empowerment, Mrs. Saida Joseph. Those two for sure.
Awesome.
So they will be starting they'll have different locations where they're going to be starting. For one, they're going to a couple of them will be starting from the ferry bus terminal and be walking a good way, blindfolded. Mr. Bowen said that he has a few canes at home.
Yes, that's right.
So he will provide. They're not going to be by themselves. They're going to be accompanied with a person who is blind or vision impaired, as well as a sighted person.
Yes.
So when you see that happening, just stop to think, what it must be, because the name of the activity, and Mr. Bowen and his team came up with the name Experience My Pain. So that's what we're hoping to have on the 19th of February. May. Sorry, I don't know why I'm thinking February. Friday the 19th next week. And then later on in the year, in October, this was the permanent secretary, Miss Janelle Lewis. She, one time doing research, she came upon a blind experience dinner. So it's something done, I think it's in Canada, where you have dinner and you either have all the lights turned off, or you have something around your eyes, and you try to have a dinner the same way to see how it must be. And so that's something that we're also planning for, specifically for blind and those who are blind and visually impaired. But the other activities that we have planned throughout the year, whether it's consultations or meetings with private sector, they're all geared towards the same individuals. It's just that specifically those are the two things.
Oh wow, those sounds exciting.
It does.
Thinking I want to be a part of that.
Oh yes.
Mr. Boyne, you mentioned you had a nice story, and I empathize with you
Yes.
when you were about 11 in Ghana. Prior to leaving Ghana, were you instrumental in making any changes to ensure that another 11-year-old child does not have to go through the same things that you went through?
Well, when I left, we were in the process of doing that, but
Okay.
eventually, I got married, and eventually, the wife said, "Well, I need you now." So I had to leave, and I came down to St. Kitts. But
Nice.
there is a lot of work has been done down there to break that barrier that no 11-year-old child, should not go through the same thing that I, went through.
Yes.
And they, David Rose School, they are doing tremendous work down there.
Okay.
Persons being blind and visually impaired, they learn to read and write Braille. They are involved in other work based on, the technology. They are even doing CXC, and, I was so proud.
Fascinating.
Yes, I was so proud when I think it was 90-odd persons who sat and passed CXC in Guyana. It was
Wow,
not only
congratulations.
the blind, but other persons with disability.
Right.
But there were a number of blind persons who were among the set, and I was very, very, very pleased because growing up, people look at persons with disability, and especially persons who are blind, and I use the word persons with disability even though the emphasis is on the blind.
Right.
Yes.
And they look at you is that you are useless.
And you're not.
When you are blind or you have a disability, society don't need you. You have to just go there and be pitied by somebody. You understand? And that in doing that, it makes me feel very, 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 very happy to know that, we have persons with disability, persons who are blind and visually impaired. You have subjects, you can go there and get a tidy job. You understand?
Right.
Yes.
Because, I always tell people, begging is not in our vocabulary. You understand?
That's true.
Because people feel when you have a disability or you are blind and visually impaired, you're supposed to be by some street corner or by the bus terminal or by some ferry terminal
Unfortunate.
begging. And I feel proud when I know blind and visually impaired, folks are, leading the way by,
Yes.
getting tidy education, getting tidy jobs, and doing things. And I mean, you have blind people now, they are even entering politics.
Oh, that's good.
I have friends who went and studied law, being blind.
Wow.
I have a friend, Kevin
Nice.
Cartwright. I met him in Barbados a couple of years ago. And he went off to the United States, and he's practicing law now in the Bahamas.
Look at that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Mr. Bowen, as we wrap up this segment, can you just share with us, for those who are watching, is there a difference between someone who is blind and someone who is physically impaired? Visionary impaired. Is there a difference?
Yes. People are, and if people notice, whenever I'm using the term, I would say blind and
Vision impaired. Okay.
in my case, I am totally blind. I cannot see anything.
Right.
But you have some folks out there, who are visually impaired, who have some vision. They can work by themselves, or they can even be, led by somebody. But when you have, when you don't have a 20/20 vision,
Right.
you are totally blind.
Blind. Get it.
And when you have a certain measure of vision, you are visually
Impaired. So you have some level of independency.
Yes.
I get it. Understand.
Yes.
Before we go, I have to put this in, Mauricio, and this is for you. What is being done to ensure that St. Kitts become more accessible to the blind and visually impaired and other individuals who are differently abled?
Well, right now what we're doing is we are planning a series of I don't want to say workshop, but meetings with different private sector businesses. Like for instance, the supermarket owners, the financial institutions, restaurant owners. We have that plan coming up in a few weeks. And what we are going to do is we're going to have those specific meetings. So with the supermarkets, we're going to discuss to the owners the issues that persons who are living with a disability have trying to access their stores, and how they can go about with our help and with the government's help to change certain things. We didn't want to have one meeting with different persons there. We want to dissect. So all the supermarket owners, or the shop owners, when they leave there, they know, okay, specifically I need to do this. The financial sector, we need to do this. And so that's how we plan to target it at this moment. And then later on, what we plan to do is to just go back and go back to see who made what changes and continue to do so until it's done.
Yeah. We need it. And I see Mr. Boyne said yes. So he's on board in the meetings as well to let them know what is what.
100%.
Of course.
Okay.
And just before we go, how can persons who are experiencing these challenges, so to speak, how can they reach out to the ministry to get assistance? Are there any contact details? Just share with the public.
Definitely. We have a cell phone number, if I remember correctly, 665-3984. 665-3984. That's the Department of Disability Services. You can contact myself. We also now have our new, say it's myself, the coordinator, and we also have a program officer, Miss Travia Douglas. She was the secretary, or is the secretary, well, transitioning from the secretary from the association, the Association of the St. Kitts Association of Persons with Disabilities. So we are happy and pleased to have her in the department or in the ministry. She started about a month and a half ago.
That's nice.
So when you call or you contact, you will either get herself or you get me.
Okay. And Mr. Boyne, Maricia, it was indeed our pleasure having you. We hope this is not our last conversation, and maybe you'll come back here in October, Mr. Boyne.
Yes, certainly.
Looking forward.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for having us here.
Oh, our pleasure.
It was a pleasure indeed,
I wish we had more time because this conversation needs more time
I know.
to continue.
It's a fascinating story.
It's just what I mentioned is just quarter.
Yeah, I know. We need to get to the whole.
That's right.
Thank
you so much.
You're welcome. GMSCAN Nation, stay tuned. We have so much more in store for you today. As we said, that was Miss Maricia Brown and Mr. Rockcliffe Boyne.
What will it take to grab the attention of someone with the power to make your dream come true? 7 hopeful entrepreneurs in search of the finances necessary to take their ideas to the next level.
This is their lives, right? This is their business.
4 savvy business owners ready to make a pragmatic investment.
You can't help people if you can't help yourself. First, you make the dollar and you give the dollar.
Why you take your business offline?
I really feel that you need to do a little bit more research.
Very knowledgeable. Super knowledgeable.
You have a great idea and a great concept. I think you'd be snapped up by Disney.
If you have a job someplace, it means that if something is not working, you can walk away.
Who will invest?
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Thank you. And who will be sent home with nothing? I am your host, Kevin Hope.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Cheers.
An exotic experience.
Last month, the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Marine Resources and Cooperatives, St. Kitts, hosted its 2023 edition of the Agriculture Open Day. There was a wide variety of vendors for patrons to support, one of such being the children at the Kids Farmers Market, organized by the Private Educators Association. Here to tell us all about the experience are Kimona Chibalake, the president, and Kerry Green, the vice president. Good morning, ladies, and welcome back, I should say, to Kimon, and welcome, Ms. Green, to Good Morning SKN.
Good morning.
Welcome, ladies.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Our pleasure indeed. So, Kimon, I will start off with asking you, give us a little background information on what is the Private Educators Association.
So the Private Educators Association is about 25 private early childhood centers that have come together to form one body.
Okay.
Awesome. So what was the inspiration for the Kids Farmers Market?
Actually, the whole concept didn't begin as the Kids Farmers Market. We were trying to find ways initially to get our children to eat vegetables.
Okay.
After COVID, we recognized that most of the children dislike vegetables because a lot of our centers, in trying to adhere to the COVID rules, were no longer cooking meals for the children, and so the meals were being sent from home. And we recognized that the whole dynamics of the meal, there was the absence of the vegetable part.
I see.
In an effort to get the children to eat vegetables after having the conversations with them, I actually thought that let's see if we grew it. And they saw how the whole thing came into being, that it might make a difference. Kimon and I brainstormed, of course. She's the brain behind a lot of what is going on. And because I had more space to actually do something like that, well, I began, but I'll continue the process. And Kimon joined in, and then later on we encouraged some of our other, other supervisors to join.
So do you think, I found something online that said that farming teaches kids to have a greater appreciation for food. Spending a day, a week, or a lifetime on a farm will change the way they see food. Do you think that has happened for these kid farmers?
Well, I wouldn't even use the word think. I would tell you, I know that has happened.
Nice.
Because of COVID, we actually had to build an outdoor classroom, and that is open, and then you get to be a part of the environment more so. And occasionally you will see them look out at the plants and say, oh, teacher, my okra tree is growing, or teacher. And they're now more willing to try.
Right.
Okay.
But before, we didn't have that happening.
Right. So, Kimon, tell us, we know dealing with children can be a bit challenging sometimes. How is it that you manage to get these children to participate in such activities?
Okay, so the trick to dealing with children, and before I go there, I'm not going to let Kerry throw me, giving me all of the credit. So we work together as a great team in terms of brainstorming and throwing out the ideas. Being inside of the classroom helps us to navigate the way in which we want to bring it, one, to the children and bring it to the public.
Of course.
So with the trick when it comes to working with children is consistency. If you are repetitious, you're consistent with it, they'll get it.
Right.
So preparing for farmers market, we had to actually do a whole lesson on fruits and vegetables, and then we did a tasting. So the kids brought different fruits and vegetables, and each child had the opportunity to taste. Someone new foods like the tamarind, and then one of the children did tamarind jam for everybody, so the children were able to taste tamarind jam, well, the parents too. And so that was a great way for us to expose them to the different types of food and have them taste it within the classroom setting with their friends.
So how educated were they? I know it's a big question to them. How educated were they on the day that they were selling? Because I saw a little person that resembles you. She hands somebody their tamarind jam. She requested $4. She took the $5. She put it next to the green money, and she gave them back $1. How did they sell their products?
So this was strategic because one of the... Now, when we look at early childhood, there are about 8 content areas that we try to cover, expose the children to actually. So their social development skills is one, how they interact with the persons within their communities.
Right.
And so we had to teach them, how do you greet persons? Good morning, how can I help you? And so it was the method in making sure that they come in, even at a regular day at school, as they would come into the door, you're like, good morning, and how are you? How was your evening? And so they're used to that sort of interaction. So now bringing it to the public was something that we had to remind them and teach them as well. Like, that is how you greet others when you want them to buy your things.
Yeah, it was so sweet. It was so sweet.
So, Kerry, take us back to the open day. Share with us some of the highlights on the day.
One of the things that actually got me was they actually wowed, the persons that came to the stall. They were amazed that children that were so small, so petite, could handle such an operation. In fact, I would say that they were more professional than some of the persons we would meet when we go into the establishment.
Ta-da.
I mean, I saw one little girl say, "How can I help you?"
Exactly.
And I was like, I wish I would get that kind of greeting when I go to the stores.
I understand, Carrie.
You
I
know,
understand,
to the stores. Another thing I found quite interesting was that when they were not familiar with the name of a product, I saw one of the children go, "What is that over there?" And I was like, okay, that's my girl. That's you're dealing with the situation before you get you ask the question, and that is those are the kind of skills that we want to bring to the children, because we want them to be able to transfer knowledge, not just have it and we feel as it stays within the classroom. And so, like I said, Kimon is really a good person for coming up with the ideas and taking us.
Right. So share with us some of the schools that participated on that day.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to remember. I don't want to forget anyone. So there was Keisha Cuddles, and Baptist Academy, Dawn's Nursery, Auntie May's, Love Center, Hat to Hat. What? I'm trying to remember.
Yes,
it was about 7 of us.
It was successful.
And Key Babies,
Yes, of course, Key Babies.
Yes,
were the cashiers from the different schools as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that was a way of us making sure that children understand the number sense. The numbers. And no, they're not at the age where they can do addition as yet.
Yes.
Or subtraction, but just knowing the numbers, what a $10 is, what a $5 is. Right.
As I said, I see the little ones say, put it by the green monies, and then you give what. And I was like, oh, that is so sweet. At least they're getting, and press the 4 and press the open, and oh my gosh, y'all prepared those kids very well for the open day. What about the farming? How is it like farming with the kids and the dirt and all those things?
Oh, that's the best part, because kids love dirt. Sensory play right there. The dirt, the water, digging in their hands, covering it. That's what they enjoy.
Carrie, a question for you. You said you saw veggies missing out of the bowl, right? Now that you ladies and the other preschool teachers are encouraging the kids to plant, once the crops grow and you harvest them, are the parents okay with you cooking it and giving it to them to try?
Well, I was a little bit more strategic than that. When the crops grew, we picked them, and the children took them home for their parents to cook, and they had to come back and say what their mommy or daddies did with it, and how it tasted. And later on, we had a bumper crop of pumpkins. There were so many pumpkins that we couldn't even find markets to get them to sell them at. So I initiated a pumpkin competition, and each child was given a piece of pumpkin to take home, and they had to create a dish or something made with pumpkin. And I found the parents were very creative. Wow. We had a number of items, from pumpkin facial scrubs to pumpkin pie and different kinds of pumpkin fritters, pumpkin patties, pumpkin bakes, pumpkin jam. I mean, it was really an amazing experience.
Was any of these things sold at the agriculture fair? Did you get the parents involved again?
Some of the items we had the parents, make some of it, like muffins and that sort of stuff. And we're not finished as yet, because for Childman, Kimon had this great idea where we would go back.
Don't shy away. Don't shy away.
We would go back to the public, not together, but individually as schools in the areas that we are, and we would go back to the public with products that the children would be making with produce from the grounds, and they will making it with their parents.
Okay. All right. Well, ladies, we'll take a break, because I love where this conversation is going, and we will continue after this with a little farmer, but you gotta wait to see who this little farmer is. Stay tuned.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom. No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Cheers.
An exotic experience.
We are back with Kimon Archibald Lake, President, and Kerry Green, Vice President of the Private Educators Association. We are now joined by Ezra Fleming, one of the children who took part in the Kids Farmers Market. Hi, Ezra.
Hi.
Good morning. Morning.
Morning.
All is well? You're okay?
Awesome. Ezra, tell us, how old are you?
4 years old.
You're 4 years old?
So you want to say hi to mommy and daddy before you start? Okay, so
Shout
go ahead
out.
and say hi to mommy
Hi,
and daddy.
mommy. Hi, daddy.
Aw, that's so cute. So Ezra, Teacher Kimon told us that the picture on the shirts that you had at the Kids Farmers Market, you drew the picture. Wow, you did. So how did you? So who are the persons on the shirt?
Ezra. Destiny, Kyle, Unseen Lover.
Oh,
Ezra,
wow.
So Dejeuner, who's Dejeuner, your best friend?
That's so sweet.
So tell us, what's the name of your school?
Kid Babies.
Okay.
Kid Babies, there you go. He know who he is.
So did you enjoy the farmers market?
Yes.
What did you like about it? What did you saw that was really good for you? Tell us what you saw.
Muffins.
You saw your muffins.
I like Ezra. So what did you do when you were at the kids market on Thursday and Friday?
Take money from people.
I like that. That is the important part. So you were a cashier.
You were the cashier.
Did you sell something to them too? Did you give them something when you took their monies?
Muffins.
Muffins.
Oh, muffins. Oh, so he was the muffin man. Did you keep on helping me here?
So Ezra, our little secret, Ezra, tell us, how many money did you make? How much money did you make?
5.
Only $5? How about your rich man?
So tell us about the fruits that you drew on your drawing.
What's the name of that fruit?
Plum.
Plum.
Nice.
Right.
Orange.
Orange.
Apple.
Apple.
Watermelon.
Watermelon.
Pineapple. Banana.
Banana.
Grape. Cucumber.
Cucumber. Ah, give yourself a clap for that, Ezra.
Ezra, you're a smart little boy.
He is.
Are those some of your favorite fruits? Wow.
Tell us which one. Show us which one is your favorite.
Grapes.
And what's the name of that one? Grapes.
That is so sweet. Wow. So, Teacher Kimon, when he came up with the drawing, did you initiate I would say a contest at your school to get the drawing?
Not really.
Okay.
Before I continue, I forgot to mention 2 other schools. Told you I would forget. It was Louisa Grant Preschool and Auntie Juliet Nursery.
Okay.
So those were the other 2 that made up the 9 of us, because these 9 of us came on board. So with the drawing now, I'm very intentional in teaching my children how to draw. I think that is one of the things we overlook a lot when it comes to being in the preschool space. We more concentrate on the knowledge that they would need for kindergarten, forgetting that some of our children are very creative.
Yes.
So he is one of the children that we find can, when we do directional drawing at school, he does a pretty good job. So there are about 4 of them actually, that we always like, whoa, they could draw. So I asked their parents to, I asked them what they want to draw, if they had to draw a picture of the farmer's market, and he was the only one that really jumped at the opportunity. So yeah,
he even made sure horses in there to water the ground. He thought of everything.
Very smart.
And he has some background because his dad is into agriculture as well.
Okay. So he knows what's needed.
He knows.
Okay.
He knows a lot about.
So Ezra, do you help Daddy on the farm?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Shout out to Daddy. Say hi to Daddy one more time.
Hi, Daddy.
So, do you see this event continuing next year?
Most definitely, and I'm sure there are other private early childhood that are members of the PE that would want to come on board, because at the end of it, I think when we did our post-marathon, we recognized that we touched every curriculum content area.
Oh, nice.
So the children were exposed to technology, engineering, arts, language, math. We did it all. Science, social studies, we did it all just on that one event.
Carrie, how proud of you that you and Kimon have a hand in this next generation being their best selves. As you rightfully say, these kids were welcoming. They were dealing with the Minister of Government, the Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Samuel Duggins. How pleased are you that these children will take what you would have taught them in the future and be better customer service agents, better agents at everything? Because as Kimon said, they touch every part of it, including the arts. She's not leaving out the arts. How proud are you of that?
I'm extremely proud. In fact, we are big on food security. At my school, they would tell you that when we talk about fruits and vegetables, I bring them to the local ones, because we have had children who had never tasted a guava. Had no idea what a soursop was. And so I sort of try to change that whole kind of dynamics. And then having worked with children and having a couple of my own, I recognize that the mindset change is what we would need to work on from a very early age. And so not that you're indoctrinating them, but you're now playing with having them develop mindset changes to recognize that what we have is good and even better than what we import. And so I'm big on that, and I can see it for my children, because sometimes when they come in, teacher, I have a mango today, or teacher, I have some soursop, and that makes me feel good.
Nice.
When we talk about, we had a whole project going where we were encouraging persons to plant pigeon peas, because I said, why do you have to find money to buy the others, and if you don't have it?
We had none here the other day.
Okay.
We couldn't find any in the supermarket.
Exactly. And so we had this whole project of growing pigeon peas, and I told them the next thing we're going to take on is ensuring that every yard has a pigeon peas tree in it. And I mean, that's a concept that's catching on. So hey, I believe the children can do it, and they're the trendsetters, and so I'm right there with them.
Of course.
Yeah, we actually had an edu corner talking about the pigeon peas.
Oh, nice.
And giving away free packets of pigeon peas to
I like
plant.
that. She's ensuring that it is planted. So, ladies, where is this farm? Is it one farm, or does each school have their own farm?
So each school has their own yard garden.
Okay.
And then, but for me, the monkeys and I don't get along well in my area, so we are using one of our parents' farm.
Okay, good stuff.
And for me, the monkeys are even greater enemies for me than they are for Kimon, because they practically live in my backyard.
Oh, Lord.
But what I have done is all of the lands that surround the school where I'm at, that I would have had to keep clean anyway. You know,
yes.
We just go and plant on them until the owners are ready, then they can have them back.
Exactly.
So the children get an opportunity to do a bit more than they would have been able to do at Kimon and Zen.
Ladies, I have to ask this important question. We keep hearing food security, food security. Do you both think that we are secured here in St. Kitts when it comes to food? Should a big epidemic or pandemic happen again?
For me, I would say definitely not, but I could see it's a work in progress. And so I would commend the authorities, for at least ensuring that something is happening. One of the things I think that is missing, though, is that I don't think that the message is being crafted to reach the persons who would have the biggest influence. And for me, that would be the children, because like I say, the mindset change at that age is what definitely would steer it in the right direction.
Right. And Kerry and Kimon, speaking of children, how would you encourage educators to incorporate real life experience into the curriculum?
It actually is in the curriculum. Well, yeah.
Do you think it should be encouraged more?
It should be encouraged, probably. You see, the thing is, we can only speak to our space. We are not privy to any sort of information that is outside of our space. But what we do for the PEA is we encourage this a lot within our members. Showing them the importance. So this was a great way for us to show them what it is in action.
Right.
So it's not just us talking, it's now you're seeing what the real life experience can do for the children.
Okay. So Ezra, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Drive.
You want to drive?
You want to drive?
Okay, so you don't want to farm? Okay, all right. Just making sure.
I don't think he knows it yet.
Okay, yeah. Pretty
he has
small.
options.
Very much so. Artist and all.
Yeah, he can be anything.
He wants to be. Indeed.
Right? You can be anything you want to be. Right.
Well, ladies, I enjoyed our discussion. Totally enjoyed our discussion, even with Miss Carrie, Miss Carrie over there. And Ezra, thank you for your picture. You made a big impact at the market. So you're going to draw next one soon, and you're going to share it with us, right? And also, I like your lion that you drew the other day. It was on point, right? Alrighty. So, ladies, thanks again for coming and enlightening us on what the PEA does. And as I said, I hope the others follow. So next year, we'll have a bigger kids farmers market.
Definitely.
Definitely. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having
us. Pleasure indeed.
You're welcome.
Thanks for coming, Ezra.
Thanks, Ezra. Say bye.
GMSK Nation, stay tuned. So much more in store.
What will it take to grab the attention of someone with the power to make your dream come true? 7 hopeful entrepreneurs in search of the finances necessary to take their ideas to the next level.
This is their lives, right? This is their business.
4 savvy business owners ready to make a pragmatic investment.
You can't help people if you can't help yourself. First, you make the dollar and you give the dollar.
Why you take your business offline?
I really feel that you need to do a little bit more research.
Very knowledgeable. Super knowledgeable.
You have a great idea and a great concept. I think you'd be snapped up by Disney.
If you have a job someplace, it means that if something is not working, you can walk away.
Who will invest?
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Thank you. And who will be sent home with nothing? I am your host, Kevin Hope.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Good morning. Good morning. This is Karen of Paris and support from Paris, Vermont. I want to encourage y'all to sign on to Good Morning SKN every morning from 8 to 10 at Studio 327. Thanks.
Greetings, my lovely people. I'm Chantel, residing in Taiwan. 12 hours time difference. It's nighttime here, morning time in SK. I'm busy and on the go. However, I always manage to keep up to date with what's happening in SK. All thanks to Good Morning SKN. Good morning SKN. Ciao, bango!
Yo, what up? It's your boy N Richie right here at Studio 327. I'm here to give you the promo that you guys need because this is something special for St. Kitts. I'm telling you, tune in to Good Morning SKN, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and on Moment Channel 4. Also, I realize nobody else is doing this. Follow the Good Morning SKN Instagram at Good Morning SKN and the Studio 327 Inc. Instagram. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook. This is pretty long, but follow us and yeah.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Yeah.
An exotic experience.
Pongyo, Tajahao. Greetings, my lovely people. I'm Chantel, residing in Taiwan. 12 hours time difference. It's nighttime here, morning time in SK. I'm busy and on the go. However, I always manage to keep up to date with what's happening in SK. All thanks to Good Morning SKN. Good morning, SKN. Ciao, bango.
Good morning. This is Karen of Paris and support from Paris, Vermont. I want to encourage y'all to sign on to Good Morning SKN every morning from 8 to 10 at Studio 327. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us this morning here at Good Morning SKN. You're just in time for a fun segment. So it has officially been a week since Andre joined me as co-host of Good Morning SKN, and we have gotten to know each other quite a bit. We still have ways to go since then. But no matter how long you know someone, there is always something new to learn about them. Dun, dun, dun. I'm looking forward to learning something new about Andre. So as we loosen up today, we have a series of questions which we will be answering to get to know each other better. Yeah, you ready?
I am certainly ready. Let's go.
Alrighty, let's go, he says. So, what book has influenced you the most? For me, I'ma say it's the Bible. That's the book for me. If we look at that book, right?
Yeah.
If we follow what it says, we won't get in trouble, you know. And the book teaches us everything that's going to happen to us. It teaches us lessons from before that we can enact to ensure that we don't get in the situations that those folks get into. The book even teaches us how to treat others, how to treat ourselves.
That's true.
Imagine the book tells us we can be selfish, so we can have time for ourselves. It tells us that in the nicest way. I ain't going to say be selfish, but it tells us that in the nicest way, because if you are not filled up, how can you pour out? So that book, that is the book that influenced me. It has everything in it, every lesson, well, you get the test and then you get the lesson. So every lesson to the test that those people went through, we can use it. We can use it. So the Bible.
Interesting. The Bible have also influenced me.
Oh.
It is also a favorite book of mine. But
personally,
the book that inspires my favorite book is, of course, it's called Labrish. And it's a book that was written by
Labrish. I've never heard of that.
Yes, Labrish. It's a big, well-known book, especially in Jamaica, in the region in particular. It was Louis Bennett Coverley.
Okay.
And that book, it helps me to accept who I am, accept the fact that I am different, the fact that wherever you're from, just accept how you, the mere fact how you speak, just embrace your own identity and language.
Yeah.
I mean, Kittitians and Nibisians, as I said, they have a beautiful dialect. So does the Jamaican, so does the Trinis, the Guyanese. Exactly. However, this book, it goes in depth. Like, no matter where you go, just embrace your own language. I mean, the expressions in the book. I remember one line in there says, "Girl, run go wash the jester pot, turn them down, tell Luffy send some stale bread, cause Miss Mary Turkey dead." I mean, listen.
Shouldn't the turkey be dead to cook?
I know. But just listening to the expressions, I mean, you wouldn't speak like that on a public scene.
Yes.
But this woman, Miss Louise Bennett, she taught you how to embrace who you are. And for that book is inspiring to me.
What does that saying mean, Andre? Because I'm not familiar with all the sayings.
With the dialect?
Yeah.
I mean, it will take forever to explain, but...
the short version.
The basics. Girl, run go wash your jester pot. It's like, put on your pot on the fire. We're about to have a feast.
Okay, nice. Oh, nice. I like that. Jamaican Labrish. I must read. But I'm bad at reading, guys. I've been trying, but by the time I start the pages, guess what happened? Fall asleep.
It happens to the best of us.
Oh my
The next one
word.
says, what's your favorite movie or TV show?
Let me hear yours, Andre.
My favorite TV show would be... You familiar with RHOA?
I think so. I don't watch TV no more.
I love me some Real Housewives of Atlanta. Trust me. It premieres actually on Sunday night, season
Can
15.
I tell you who is his favorite person on there?
Go right
Kenya.
ahead. She knows. Who doesn't love Kenya more? Listen, Kenya Moore is such an inspiration,
Do you see what I mean?
especially to females out there.
Do you see what I mean?
Listen, she was what? The second Black Miss USA at a time when...
And she does not let us ever live it down.
Hello, constant reminder.
Oh my God.
And also she inspired those women out there who have always want to conceive and cannot. I mean, for whatever reason, this woman got pregnant at age 46.
That's why there's hope. So stop telling people they're too old to get children.
There you go.
Thank you.
My favorite show, Real Housewives of Atlanta. I said it right here in Studio 327.
On Good Morning SKN at that. Yep.
And yours?
My favorite movie would be one of the installation of Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, on Stranger Tides. I love me some Captain Jack Sparrow.
He's fascinating.
And I love me some Captain Barbosa, of course, because you know the two of them, I swear, are the bullies in there or the jokers.
Right.
And this one showed them actually trying to find a fountain of youth. And trying to maintain their youth. Like, why would you want... What if we drank from the fountain of youth and it took us right back to Pampa days?
I see.
What happened? But that just showed the greed, and the countries that fought, it was... When they got there, well, it was the pirates that were fighting.
Right.
Because we had Captain Blackbeard and his ghost ship, because in the night, all his mates looked like skeletons.
Right.
We had the English that came. That was with Captain Barbosa, because he ended up working for the English. I guess you see a pirate turn a good guy.
Right.
And then you had the Spaniards that eventually came in, because as soon as the British soldier went up with the flag to say, I claim this land in the name of Britain, pow, he was shot. And then the Spaniard said, just make a note of that man's movie. So that is my movie. That's my favorite part. And it shows you that greed gets you nowhere. And in the end, the water was given to the young lady, the daughter of the pirate that was hoping to stay young forever, but he wasn't really a good pirate, so I guess Johnny ensured that she got it, so she lived forever, although he left her on a deserted island at the end of that movie. But any Pirate of the Caribbean installation, I'm there for it, and I'm looking forward to the new one. So that would be my favorite movie.
Of course.
Yeah. Now we are on to... Who is your role model, dead or alive? Sad to say, my role model has passed away. That would be Mr. Nelson Mandela. And we know the struggle that he went through to ensure that South Africa became as united as it could have been. I found out that he was a lawyer. And in the 1940s, struggling lawyer. 1950s, he worked as a lawyer, providing free and affordable education for persons who need it, because a lot of persons, not only Miss Mandela was fighting to end the apartheid in South Africa. And for those of us who aren't familiar, apartheid means a segregation of races, and you basically put one race above the other. So during this fight, 1962 arrested, 1963 put on trial and given a life sentence.
Yes, I remember.
And what I remembered, I was listening to a motivational speech just the other day, and the amount of things that Mr. Mandela went through in that prison. They made him dig a grave, pretending that that was where he was going to die. And while he was digging that grave, those soldiers peed on that man. A lawyer. That's why it shows you that sometimes it doesn't matter what you are. When you are in distress, sometimes our profession really can't save us. But he remained humble. They watched him bathe. They put that man in the limestone quarry to just chip at stones for no reason. They kept him in slippers and short pants, that even in prison he did not stop the fight. He fought to ensure that they got long pants and shoes like the other prisoners.
But I don't stop you right there. Guess what? And this is why we are so compatible on the Good Morning SKN show, because guess what? My favorite
is Nelson Mandela too.
Is also Nelson Mandela. And trust me, we never discussed this.
We didn't.
We have not discussed this,
never.
but he too is my role model.
And you realize, not to cut you, the other day we had a conversation. I told you we should have included him, you know.
Yes.
Because he stood his ground, Andre.
He did. But you know what's fascinating? Why he's actually my role model? He taught us never to give up.
Never.
Because after being thrown into prison and served what? 27 long years, he still rose to become what? The president of the Republic of South Africa. So
indeed.
he is indeed my role model.
Yep, and he fought. And look at that. The same officers that peed on him. You know, when he had his inauguration, he asked them to seat them in the front row. And that wasn't to embarrass them. That was to show them that no matter what you go through in life, you can still rise above and accomplish it. Even when he came out of prison too, the same prosecutor that was looking for him to spend his life in prison or get the death penalty, because they wanted the death penalty, and eventually they went to life in prison. He took him out to dinner and had a conversation to ask him why, and that shows the humbleness
who he was. Shout out
what
to
he stood for.
Shout out to all those people watching from South Africa.
Indeed.
Continue to sleep in peace, Nelson Mandela.
Indeed.
Up next, what's your greatest achievement? Yep. My greatest achievement so far is, of course, the fact that I was graduated at the University of the West Indies.
Oh, good stuff.
That's my greatest accomplishment. I mean, defying all the odds. I am actually the very first of all my siblings to go through university. It was a turning point for many of us, and it's definitely a proud moment. My greatest achievement thus far.
Look at you. Look at you. Oh, look at oh, proud of you for that. Proud of you for that.
Thank you.
Well, I haven't graduated from anything but high school, and I still have to complete the remainder of my bachelor's.
You got time.
Just yet.
You got time.
Boy, plenty time. I hope. I hope, because we don't know what tomorrow holds. But mine was accomplishing my 2 dream jobs back to back. That's the first one, becoming a flight attendant, because I wanted to do that since I was 5 years old. And then the second was this job last year, February 1st.
Interesting.
So,
Interesting.
So those 2 would have been my greatest accomplishment thus far.
Awesome. So what animal would you want to be for a day, and why?
Elephant.
Listen.
What? I want to be an elephant. Yes.
Why though?
Because they're big, so people respect them.
But when I say big, what do you mean? Because you know, big can mean in a negative way or a positive way.
Well, I big positive. So these animals, they are big.
Right.
They're revered. They're respected. They travel in packs, and why? And I chose that because I have 2 packs, and 2 packs of friends that will tell you where you're going wrong, and we pull up each other, we make jokes, etc., etc.
And when you say 2 pack, you don't mean the former rapper.
No, oh no. Andre, I'm gonna get you, No, I have 1 pack and I have a next pack. So I have 2 packs of specific friends. And the next reason, they like to snorkel. Well, they're like, there goes my voice. Why you being a hater? Because I love elephants. They like to snorkel. That's something else I like to do. And I would love to have their memory. And the next thing I find in common with them, that sometimes I make myself small to fit in rules for certain people, and I shouldn't do that. And I realize an elephant that's in a circus and that is conditioned to be chained to a little stake, they will stay there humbly. They won't move. They won't do anything when they have the power.
Got you.
I found out that was another similarity I have in how should I say? Another similarity I have with them. Another reason why I like the elephant too is that they're kind.
They're kind.
They're kind. Oh, they're the sweetest things.
You think? Have you met a
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I'm hoping to. And I thought back then I wanted to ride an elephant, but now that I find that we are on the same level, like I don't even think I want to do that. I just want to pet them. I just want to pet them, feed them, play with their trunk. Maybe he could give me a little lift up in the trunk, you know? You never know. But I don't want to be on them, and I don't want to cause any add any extra weight to the weight they're carrying.
Understood.
Yeah, and they have great memories. I read an article where 2 elephants at one elephant was in the sanctuary already, and the next elephant came, and the keepers were, why are they so excited to find out that they were both in the same circus 23 years ago? So I want their memory, because sometimes I don't remember
Fascinating.
stuff. So yeah,
Fascinating.
that's why I want to be an elephant.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, for me in particular, the animal I would love to be for a day is a dolphin.
Really?
Yes, I would love
Why?
to be a dolphin. Dolphin, they are smart.
Yeah, they are.
They are intelligent
Very.
creatures, and they stick together no matter what.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
And they're helpful too.
And they are definitely
Funny enough,
helpful.
we have things that are helpful.
Yep. So
Yeah.
that's me.
A dolphin.
A dolphin
Swim
for a
about all
day if I could.
Yeah, I actually went to Dolphin Discoveries the other day, and I met Gia, and she was a sweetheart.
Yeah.
As I was asking,
But don't provoke Gia though.
I know, don't provoke Gia. I know she
That's
could
it.
defend herself, because you know
Okay.
Gia could beat up them sharks and them boys in the sea to help us out.
Right.
So, but she was so sweet, and when they told her to swim like a shark, you see Gia just and they made the sound. She just
Right.
comes and she kisses and she waves and it was adorable. I enjoyed it. So,
Right.
oh, funny we picked two sweet animals.
Yep.
They are defenders, because an elephant will trample something
Yes.
that's attacking. Yeah,
I
And
agree.
that will certainly beat up somebody in the ocean. So we secretly choose animals that are kind, but they can still fight.
Right. Compatibility.
Indeed.
And the next one say, what's a recent lesson life has taught you? Recent lesson life has taught you. For me, I'm gonna go with the phrase, don't count your chickens before you see the eggs. Or don't count the chickens before you see the hen. That's how I go. Don't count the chickens before you see the eggs, or don't count
Don't count the
don't
chickens
count
before
the eggs. Don't count the eggs before you see the chicken.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not
But
sure.
that's my life lesson. I've been in situations where I have been awarded certain things, or was told I was going to give me certain things, and then I was like over the moon, and then boom, flat on my face.
Oh wow.
Yep. So life has taught me, don't count them chickens before you actually see the eggs.
So don't. Oh, okay. Okay,
Yep.
I'll work on that. I think we have it mixed up, but then
It can go both ways. Don't count those chickens before you see the eggs, or don't count the chickens before the eggs have hatched. Something along that line.
I think mine. Y'all have to put up mine. See, because my elephant memory. See, do you see why I want to be an elephant for a day? Do you see why I want to be an elephant for a day? Because I think mine was. Basically, I said it with the Nelson Mandela quote, don't settle for a life that is small when you know you can be living something better. So I think that is mine. Because as I said, I normally try to fit the mold, and I'm working on that. I'm getting there one day at a time. But
That's
Andre,
right.
look at that. It's time for us to say goodbye. We have too much fun, you know.
I know. But one final one.
Go ahead.
Do you have any secret talents?
I have a secret one, but I was told not to use it, so I'm definitely gonna abide by it. I can read upside down, y'all, on the teleprompter.
Upside down. I want to
I'm
see
gonna
that.
read it upside
You
down.
gotta show us. Well, my secret talent is, of course, I can make airplanes.
Like
I can
real
make
ones to fly.
I can make me an airplane.
Okay, Andre, you have to bring that airplane for us.
Well, you think it was a physical airplane? I can make airplane.
Andre, I was even looking for a model airplane.
Let me make one right now and see. Continue, go ahead. I'm going to show you.
Okay. Well, we have to wrap up now while Andre make his airplane. So we'll say thank you for joining us today, and we advise that you tune in daily, where you'll find a little bit of everything for everyone. Get your friends and family to watch. How this will happen, you have to share. You have to share. For those of you watching us in St. Martin, Guyana, the diaspora, Jamaica now, everywhere that you're watching, thank you so much. So remember to follow us on our social media platforms, including Facebook and YouTube at Studio327 Inc. and Instagram at Good Morning SKN. Remember to like, Subscribe, follow, and share. Please share. Thank you for continually subscribing. Also, check out our website at studio327inc.com to learn more about Good Morning SKN and Studio 327.
Of course. And leave us a comment and let us know what was your favorite part of today's show. See you tomorrow at 8 a.m. when you start your mornings with us. And here you go, my secret talent. And flight 327 is destined for Nevis. But first, we take a stop at Booby Island.
Is it gonna fly? Is it gonna fly? You have to make it fly. So make it fly. The audience needs to see it fly before we go.
There you go. Flight 327. We are out of here.
Have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching.